soldiers? What will it say to our allies? What will it say to our enemies? We heard from General Petraeus during his confirmation hearing that war is a battle of wills. Our enemies believe that they are winning in Iraq today. They believe they can outlast us, that sooner or later we will tire of this grinding conflict and go home and leave the field and that country open for them. That is the lesson that Osama bin Laden has told us in his writings and statements that he took from our retreats from Lebanon and Somalia in the 1980s and 1990s. It is a belief at the core of the insurgency in Iraq and at the core of the goals, fanatical goals, of radical Islam worldwide. And I fear this resolution before this Senate, by codifying our disunity, by disavowing the mission our troops are about to undertake, will confirm our enemies' belief that America has grown impatient and unable to fight the long fight to victory. This resolution also sends a terrible message to our allies. Of course, I agree that we must hold the Iraqi government to account. That is exactly what the resolution Senator McCain and I and others have offered would do. But I ask you, imagine for a moment that you are a Sunni or Shia politician in Baghdad who wants the violence to end. And ask yourself how the 111 resolution would affect your thinking, your calculations of risk, your willingness to stand against the forces of extremism. Will the resolution empower you or will it undermine you? Will it make you feel safer or will it make you feel you should hedge your bets or go over to the extremists or leave Iraq? And finally, what is the message this resolution sends to our soldiers? I know that every member of this Senate supports our troops, but actions have consequences, often unintended. Madam President, I ask unanimous consent that I be given an additional moment to finish my statement.
Is there objection?
That would come from Senator Cornyn's time.
Seeing none.
I thank you, Chair. When we send a message of irresolution, it does not support our troops. When we renounce their mission, it does not support our troops. We heard recently in the Senate Armed Services Committee from General Jack Keane, former Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army, who said of a resolution like this one, and I quote, "It's just not helpful. What the enemy sees is an erosion of the political and moral will of the American people. Our soldiers are Americans first. They clearly understand there's a political process in this country that they clearly support. But at the end of the day, they're going to go out and do a tough mission, and I certainly would like to see them supported in that mission as opposed to declaring non-support." I agree. Everyone here knows that the American people are frustrated about the lack of progress in Iraq. Everyone here shares that frustration, and as elected representatives of the people, everyone here feels pressure to give expression to that frustration. This is not a new challenge. It is one that every democracy in every long war has had to confront. Nearly a century and a half ago, an American president wrestled with just this problem. It was in the midst of a terrible war, a civil war, in which hundreds of thousands of Americans were fighting and dying to secure the freedom of millions long and cruelly denied it. We here highly resolve. That was Lincoln's message at Gettysburg. It was a message of resolution. If I may, Madam President, I'd ask for an additional moment from Senator McConnell to finish the statement.
Is there objection? Without objection.
I thank the chair. Lincoln said at Gettysburg, "We here highly resolve." It was a message of resolution, of steadfastness in the face of adversity, of hope over despair, and of confidence in the cause of freedom, which is America's eternal cause. Today, in the depths of a terrible war, on the brink of a decisive battle for Baghdad, let us have a serious debate about where we stand and where we must go in Iraq, but that is not the debate that this resolution of irresolution would bring. Madam President, I'd say finally the 60-vote requirement to close debate was put in place by our predecessors as a way to make it harder for the passions of a particular moment to sweep through the American people and across this Congress in a way that would do serious damage to our nation in the long term. Because I believe this resolution, if passed, would have such an effect, I will respectfully oppose the motion for cloture. I thank the President and yield the floor.
I'd like to say.